Welcome to Onivia Highlights. These are the best highlights of today's Demacia Cup matchup.
From 100 to 0, even with these three, if he can get his passive back up, that empowered W is such a nuisance to deal with. Still a few seconds away, but they're gonna start this dive off now.
All right, Hong tanks up the turret, aggro, ZDZ gets knocked up, the spears, there's that empowered you were talking about. Hong, wait a minute, he's got the minion Nico passive.
Oh, but the healing.
But ZDZ's still healing because he's autoing Tian under the tower. But eventually, Weibo Gaming pull off the dive with no deaths on their side. First blood.
Right now, Weibo doing everything in their power to deny this from happening. Another stacked wave. Xiaohu's here, and Tian's even on the way, but they're starting this dive off now.
I mean, he can grab the Seraphine ulti and have access to an Encore before Wink is even level 6 himself. And now Tian is going to roam on over. This is a 4-on-2. Encore hits onto both targets here. Wink is trying to body block so that ZDZ can survive, but he will fall. Xiaohu takes it, and Hong once again, power of the cannon minion, allows Nico to take up as many turret shots as he needs to. And this dive will take no prisoners from the side of Weibo Gaming unless Angel can find some salvation and redemption kill. But everyone else gets out alive because what can Victor do this early on? What is he going to do? Flash and Chaos Storm with practically no items under his belt? So this is a massive win for Weibo.
We come out of the replay. EDG are here on the grubs first. They don't quite have numbers for the time being, but the collapse is going to come in shortly.
They need to save an Angel. Hong gets nailed by the arrow despite flashing away. Xiaohao picks up that one. But Tian is going to take this moment to sneak over one of these grubs while the rest of EDG formed a death squad towards that top side. Xiaohu has returned to the river, takes the arrow for himself, but I don't think there's going to be an engage from Weibo Gaming. It's just going to try to use the arrow to disengage, but Tian's got nowhere to run, no time to flash, as Xiaohao pulls the trigger with that Cyclone, now looking for Xiaohu, and Weibo Gaming might have bit off more they could chew. Xiaohao dashes over the wall.
Could be seeing a play here, mid lane.
Nice. Glacial Prison on to assume. Xiaohao will try to deter the engage. Nice use of the Encore to lock up Light, but he takes out Xiaohao before they can get any damage back. Light is below 200 HP, and Hong might have gone a little too far forward. I'll assume using the power of those arrows in the slow, but Tian will now body block using his own body. Light goes in a little too far, but they take out 2 for the effort. And for EDG's bot lane,
2 early dragons to the scaling side of EDG. Weibo, despite all of the early skirmishing power that their champions can be afforded, just haven't been able to find the time to, or haven't made the time to pick up those dragons. But this TP is going to come down. There's 3 members here and ready to dive ZDZ.
He flashes away, tries to buy as much time as he can, but with 4 members diving you, I don't know how long you can last, but credit to EDG. They bought enough time for Angel to pick up first brick on the Wink, but if Weibo Gaming can continue to rely on Light jumping forward, as Xiaohu is going to send an arrow mid lane, sails on wide.
They're really understanding what the win cons are for Weibo, and they're doing an excellent job of denying that away. And as they start up this dragon, this is where it could get dicey. This is the opportunity really for Weibo to try and pull the trigger and find a successful fight.
There's some good wards for TP flanks if Xiaohu wants to pull the trigger, and that's what exactly he is going to do. Not sure which ultimate he's going to grab, but if he's got the pick of the litter, Encore would be great from this angle, and Ash Arrow could single one target. Hong goes in, Pop Blossom on a 3. Here comes the fight. Xiaohu tries to flank, but EDG immediately turn on to the flanker, and Xiaohu is getting singled out by Xiaohao. He's forced to flash over the wall, but Weibo Gaming pushed through the other side of the fight, taking out the main frontliner ZDZ, and now it's a 5-on-4 advantage for the side of Weibo.
Yeah, I mean, Weibo, this was their opportunity, right? They've got this big gold lead space that Weibo needed, along with Xiaohu, for, again, Light to just open up, right? Takes down the frontliner. There's not really much CDZ can do. He's just being good at it in the middle of 3 members. But as we come out of the replay, Assume's dead.
And it doesn't stop. The momentum has started for Weibo Gaming, and now multiple...
So 2IM Callista on, the 20-minute mark. This Baron is, tankier than older iterations, but still very easy to take down. I just don't think there's anything that EDG can do about this. Assume can send out a Hawk Shot on an arrow. That's going to give them a little bit of information, but at 5k already, Rafa, this thing's gone.
Xiaohao would have to pull off a miracle, 2k HP. He can't get into the pit. Hong doing a great job of body blocking him and ensuring he does not get into the club. Weibo Gaming now should be able to have a clean reset on this Baron.
Let's see what they can actually get done down here on the bottom side. Because again, the scaling threat, the wave clear as well, is going to, again, regain its power as soon as this Baron is lost.
Arrow flies, it hits Tien. Xiaohao's gonna go in, tries to lock down the tank under the tower, force the flash away, but Xiaohao gets completely annihilated. But the amount of damage that Weibo Gaming were able to put out as Light rips 1,000 spears out of the Monkey King's back. And now EDG, without a jungler, don't have really any more engage tools as they use pretty much everything here, Jamada.
Yeah, they did, and it still seems like Weibo are gonna get the most out of all of this. Two tier 2s, mid and bot. There's a top wave being pinged as well, so we'll see what Breeve's going to end up doing here. As arrow lands onto ZDZ, teleport's coming in as well. Breeve is a very tanky Cassante.
Yeah, tanks it up and barely loses, I want to say, more than 1/5 of his HP. Still has about 3/4 to play with. Hong goes in, forces a couple of summoner spells out of the teammates of EDG. They lose the inhibitor tower, but now have all 5 members once again. But meanwhile, Xiaohu in the mid lane, pressuring for that middle exposed inhibitor. These are 2 open structures now that Weibo Gaming can look for, but they've used a fair share of their tools. They don't want to have to risk anything in a lot of the carries for Weibo Gaming versus EDG. Light having finished 3 items and the Terminus, that makes any marksman that buys it so deceptively hard to kill because you are getting so many resistances.
He's willing to pull the trigger, man. That's the thing about Hong, you know. His 2023 year in particular was one where he really opened the eyes of a lot of LPL watchers. And then this year he was a lot more restrained, a little bit more calculated, but still very aggressive. And speaking of aggression, Breeve's gone forward here. He could very easily be taken down, and I think that is going to be what happens. Though he's Cassanteing.
He's so damn taking, man. I mean, he finally goes all out and is just now dropping below 50% HP, and he still doesn't die. Meanwhile, Xiaohu is just wondering, hey guys, y'all doing good over there? And he's like, I'm taking this turret on the top side of the map. Breeve has done his job. His teleport is not coming up for quite some time, so he cannot rejoin if Weibo Gaming wanted to continue the siege. But Baron is spawning in the next 50 seconds.
To sit here in fog and be very, very threatening. And if you split up like this, EDG, one person getting caught out, you just lose the game.
Yeah, remember, EDG's composition is stronger when all grouped together. If they're ever split up, as Xiaohao was trying to look for the flank on the right side, and Weibo Gamer is just gonna pull the trigger. Hong! Pop Blossom! Flash over the wall! That's gonna set up the engage, and Xiaohu is completely isolating Assume from the rest of the fight, cannot assist with any of his fellow EDG comrades. The fight completely won and absolutely dominated by Weibo Gaming in a stellar Game 1 performance, and they'll be taking the first game of the series.
What an engage from Hong. 3-man Homer on the front line to really just put the nail in the coffin of EDG, and that will be game 1. Weibo, after the first 20 minutes, I was a little bit worried, but once they had that opportunity to pick up that Baron, it was all go, no breaks, and they will be moving into game number 2. Lee Sid for Tien. Why don't pick it at 4? It's going to be Nocturne. I still kind of feel the same way, but it is very exciting, and we'll see. Again, still a little bit behind on tempo, but really not the worst thing in the world, as unlike last game where Weibo, you know, in the early game, a lot of criticism around their dragon control at the very least, not really picking them up with that Kalista lane, still able to do it here despite
minutes and a half away from the second rotation of Grubs. No real action has sparked between these two teams outside of the bot lane skirmishes. Xiaohao will find Hong, but he should be able to dash away once he gets in range to Light to battle dance to safety, as whoa, Xiaohao really wanted that.
Yeah, it was just a little bit slow on that heartbreak pull of Xiaohu. Angel?
Is Angel in trouble? Xiaohu. One more, like you said at Jamada, first blood goes over to Xiaohu.
Yeah, I mean, clean pickup there for Xiaohu. Not sure how it transpired, but I'm sure the observers will highlight that for us shortly. We got the look at the bottom side there. Xiaohao was just barely short on that heartbreaker. But what that play and the resulting sequences then given us is this play onto Light. No flash, remember.
I'm not sure if the depth charge was ill-advised, because now Tian gets a free engage onto Asumu, who's forced to flash over the wall. Paranoia lights turned out, and Wink has got nowhere else to go. And Xiaohao, remember, he used the Heartbreaker earlier, so he would have to flash if things get dicier. Here comes the bullet time. It will push Weibo Gaming back, and that does preserve Xiaohao from having to use his flash. More favor towards Weibo Gaming, since key targets are down to flash in Assume and Angel. And with Weibo Gaming being the first ones into the river, EDG have to, you know, have a leap of faith in venturing into the darkness, as the Dragon is already secured by Tian, and Hong is just going to make sure that EDG cannot get in position to try and capitalize on a retreating Weibo Gaming, as they get everything they wanted and nothing really gained from the side of EDG. Weibo Gaming might favor a potential re-engage if they want to look for EDG, but just trying to push them away, as Xiaohu now pops the Spirit Rush. It's going to get the depth charge guaranteed. Bullet time rips through. That's one reset for Xiaohao as he takes the body of Hong. Will look for the grand entrance before looking for another Heartbreaker for it, as he wants to get onto Tian, but they pop the Paranoia, and he still had one more Spirit Rush charge out of Xiaohu, and they punish an overextended Xiaohao.
Tower for Herald will be what the exchange ends up being. And even though, you know, EDG can just drop this Herald up here and make it a 1-for-1 in towers, it's still a much larger investment of time and resources out of EDG compared to Xiao, who can now just take a base, spend all of that gold he just got from this tower, and then come up here and maybe look for a bit of a play himself. He's actually got a deep teleport ward by that top tier 1. If you take a look at them, but I don't even think Weibo are interested in looking for a counterplay that aggressive. They're just going to look for the mid-tier 1.
Yeah, if anything, they'll just stall the ability of EDG to rotate towards the mid lane, as Assume is the only person that can try and defend it, and he is not going to try his hand against Tian.
No threat of an immediate charm. But Weibo could actually find themselves collapsing. These shallow wards might end up working out for Weibo here, as it's just a game of cat and mouse at the minute, and a hook's gonna come in and the lights are off.
Yes, sir. Xiaohu has been cut off, though, by Xiaohao, but he's able to Spirit Rush back to the safety of his team. Tian going in, immediately repelled by Angel's Emperor's Divide. And that is a Weibo Gaming jungler that has been chunked out completely of the fight. Weibo Gaming would have to fight without Tian by their side if they wanted to compete for this dragon, but it's burning down so fast. That's a solid win for EDG.
It's a very solid win for EDG. No threat of a Cloud Soul in 5 minutes time, Rad. Honestly, in total gold. So once they get that gold spent, and they're back at 2-item parity, it feels good, but for the time being, they take a fight. EDG, on paper, should just be stronger.
And for EDG, Baron has spawned, and that's where they're keeping their eyes on. TM pulls the trigger, wants to look immediately for Xiaohao, forces him out of the fight, and that does isolate Wink for the taking. Weibo Gaming pick off the straggler from EDG's side. They guarantee the numbers advantage, and that's he's TPing. He's looking for the flank angle, and Weibo Gaming, once Breathe calls out that information, they have to immediately ditch the dragon. It resets, but Xiaohao catches it, so is able to catch a little bit of the leash that Weibo Gaming gave them over to them. This is going to be second dragon acquired. Once again, Weibo Gaming.
And give them potentially an easier time in these 5v5s, but again, Weibo execution has been fantastic. The side lane play so far this game has been stellar. And I mean, it's not like their little exchanges and skirmishes haven't been either. ZDZ rather, it's going to make use of these 5 grubs. Doesn't have a massive wave to work with, but it's still going to get a pretty sizable chunk out of this tower. As the next wave arrives, he might actually be able to finish it before Breathe is able to interrupt him, and I think that's going to be the case. Double dash out to safety, and even if he ends up losing this tier 2, it's fine. What you don't want to do is get caught by the chains of corruption over the wall.
Oh, and that's all it takes. Fog of War to the advantage of Weibo Gaming. They are really in a position to just trade objective for objective. They're rather concerned of letting this Baron go for free, as ZDZ tanks up a charm and a full combo from Xiaohu. The Baron is reset. They turn off the lights. Hong was waiting for that flank angle, and the rest of the front line overextend. Wink falls. Tian looks for Assume, but Assume stands tall behind Angel, and the bullet time starts ripping through the front line of Weibo Gaming, and now the resets are coming in. Xiaohao taking control of the mini Gnar. It's up to Xiaohu and the rest of Weibo Gaming to make sure that EDG can't find any more resets and prevent a potential Baron take. But with a jungler on their side and no smite contest from Weibo Gaming, that should be the 3rd dragon for EDG.
It's a messy fight from both sides, honestly. I think Weibo a little bit too scattered, but also EDG, CDZ caught a little bit. You know, you see a Nocturne, and especially in the context of this was an R5 Nocturne, right? This wasn't like a, you know, an early Nocturne and the composition was built around it. It was like the comp was locked in. And Tien said, yeah, Nocturne looks great here. So it has definitely been a little bit of a struggle on his end. Though, as we say that, speaking of struggles, EDG are struggling to lock down Breathe, and he is going to pick up that tower. He even still got the gold for damaging it. Despite that fact, EDG happily, and I'd say brazenly, start this Baron. Tien's in the area. Breathe is in the bottom side. He has TP, but like, why even pull it unless he's going to have Mega? And he will. Lights are off, Rafa. Let's go.
Paranoia from Tien. He goes into the pit. Who takes the Baron? It's Tien that steals it. And now, as long as they can stop the recall of EDG, Breathe can just finish the game by himself. Weibo Gaming don't have to overcommit. They just have to continue corralling EDG in this river, but they have the numbers advantage even without Breathe in that Baron fight at all. And that just seemed too damn easy for Weibo Gaming to pull the wool over EDG's own eyes. GG, well played. A clean 2-0 sweep for Weibo Gaming.
It's just a complete disaster. It's worst case there for EDG. Going for the Baron.